Hey, what's up, shrimpkeepers, and welcome back to my channel. And today, I'm actually back at Neil's shop over here, and really appreciate his time and his company, so that we can actually have more conversation around streams. And it actually helps me to engage. I was just talking to Neil earlier this morning, that actually you guys are actually the ones that help me stay connected with the stream hobby as well. I think that plays a huge part in terms of getting me or motivating me to even progress more. So I think that's really appreciative of that. So today we actually have a very special topic to talk about. And this is something I think very related to South Africa market.
Yeah.
And the stream market or the stream scene, as you can put it. Because one of the things that we often see is that how do we determine what kind of streams we want to keep, and is it driven by price, or why is this stream so expensive? Right, I think this is some of the things that even Singaporeans breeder, we go through that phase as well, and try to share and educate why should one stream be more expensive than the other. Not because of hype. I think that's a fallacy in the stream breeding hobby as well, because if it's a hype, then the prices will crash definitely.
Yes.
And if it's there's a logical reasoning behind it, and why is it priced the way it is, and things like that, I think then people will really fully appreciate what goes into the stream and how it's being bred as well. So maybe Neil, what do you see in the South Africa stream hobby market? Is people actually really concerned about price versus let's say, take for example the blue boats.
Yeah.
Right. Is price a big concern?
Well, I mean, there's a whole stigma in the shrimp hobby that in South Africa you must start at the Neo Caradina.
Okay.
Because they're cheaper, they're easier to keep. But lately we've been seeing that our Neo Caradina prices are not really dropping, but things like a crystal red.
Right.
At the moment you can get a crystal red cheaper than a blue dream. And
That's
it's
interesting.
my crystal reds in the shop are the same price as my blue dreams, because I put a lot of work into my blue dreams to
Right.
keep them at a very high quality.
Right.
And my crystal reds I also put a lot of work into, but in terms of how common they are, they're becoming more common. So we get a lot of guys walking into the store and they'll see some prices of shrimp in the shop, and some of the orange eyes can get quite expensive. We got some new shrimp in that we haven't even priced yet. So now my question is, we get often is, why is that shrimp worth more than the other? Why do I need to spend more on a certain shrimp than another shrimp? And there's various answers. I mean, and a lot of people resort to YouTube, and everybody has their own opinions. But I think what's nice about your opinion is you're closer to a breeder source. You're closer to a main breeder source.
Right.
And then pricing and grading and all these questions we get, like as you said, blue balls. Some people walk in here and we charge 120 Rand for a blue bolt.
Right.
That's much cheaper than around the world. Blue bolts can go for quite a bit. And then you get deep blue bolts, which go for a lot more.
Right.
So now to explain that to someone who's new, or someone who's even been in the hobby for a while,
Right.
some people just aren't prepared to spend that money because maybe they don't understand, maybe they're unsure of why it is worth that much.
Right.
And it's good to hear it from a different source.
Right.
Because I can explain all I want,
Right. Exactly.
but to hear it from you would also help viewers and people in South Africa to make an informed decision.
Right. So I think just going directly into the question regarding the blue boats and the different gradings, I think one of the things is that buying a stream is not the end of it.
Yeah.
So buying a stream is actually the very beginning of the stream breeding journey, and that is where you have to start to select them over time. I think the thought process, the perspective, or the ideology when new breeders come into the hobby, they start thinking that once I purchase the stream, it's going to be bred out stable across all generations. So I think that is where the price come into play, where they want to get the cheapest, they want to get the nicest at the cheapest price. So, but it doesn't happen, right? So I think one of the things that people will have to keep in mind is that when you start to buy streams, like even for deep blue boats, you want to get the good quality ones, so that in future, when you start the stream breeding journey, you start to cull them and you start to keep the good ones to yourself. So buying streams is actually the very beginning of the journey. It's not the end of it.
Okay.
And moving on to the next phase, like for example, if you want to go from deep blue boats and you want to go up the next level, like a red star does, I think that is also something going to be drastic. It will be a drastic jump in terms of prices. However, I think one of the things is that we need to understand why is it so expensive, why is it being graded like that, and why is it for hobbies or breeders that have been in this hobby for a long time, they will understand that getting quality streams is not easy. To maintain the line is also not easy. It takes multiple tanks. It takes a long time to actually maintain the line, to maintain the quality. So I think that is something that I would put forward to the new breeders in South Africa. When you go into a stream breeding, you do not need to start off with new carradinas. So a lot of breeders in Singapore start off with carradinas, and some of them even start with the highest level one, like boas. They just dive right straight to it because over in Singapore we have space constraint, land is scarce. So normally people just go to the very top. I think if you guys, in South Africa, you guys have the space, and if you do not have the space, you do not want to, intend to expand. So I mean, it doesn't fit to your furniture or your living spaces. Then you can also have a few tanks, then just a few tanks and get good quality streams, and it will be nice to have.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, I mean I appreciate that, because like we'll get the client who walks in, or a hobbyist that walks in and says, okay, orange eye, where does that come from? Panda, where does that come from? And there are breeders in South Africa with that knowledge, but in terms of what you said earlier, it's starting high, producing babies, selecting the best. Most people want maybe 1 or 2 shrimp tanks, and we know that never is that the case. You get 1 tank, you end up with 5. And then a lot of guys want to keep 5 different species, and then they keep 1 in each tank.
Right.
And it's nice to have a progression where you buy a cheaper shrimp and upgrade and upgrade and upgrade. Where you're saying what's different your side is most guys are buying high,
Right.
and then it's slowly the babies you can maybe make a little bit of money off.
Yeah.
Where low grade shrimp are not worth that much. What would you say you would advise people in South Africa with a limited budget, and let's say they want to do maybe 2 or 3 tanks, and they want to enjoy the hobby, they want to breed, they want to have fun? Would it be to buy different species? Would it be to buy 1 species and have space for babies that they can maybe choose the best from?
Right. So I think different people have different perspective to this thing. So from my perspective is that if you are just beginning this hobby, usually people want to have different species. They want to keep this and that. So I think that's fine, because it's a life cycle.
Yes.
So after a while, they will realize that if they are still very interested in it, we will normally encourage them to just focus on one that they really truly like, and if they want to progress, but because not everybody wants to progress in the hobby, they just want to keep them nicely as a
that's perfect.
decor. Yeah, that's perfect. There's a decoration in the house. That's perfect. So, but if you want to progress, then I would certainly encourage the breeders to actually look at having 1. If you have 3 tanks, then you have 1 or 2 types, and then have the grow up tanks.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
that,
great.
Yeah, that's I think the best, and because budget is limited. Right?
Yes.
So having it channeled to a higher grade stream, that will also give you a lot more joy when you look at it. When you really see the quality of the streams, you are more engaged with the hobby. You're
That's
more
cool.
engaged with the streams, and it really helps the entire journey and the experience, I would say.
Like we were talking about a week and a half ago that we don't really get excited about a berried shrimp anymore. We don't really get excited about baby shrimp anymore. we get excited about, out of the 40 babies that you see this one
Yeah.
that has so much potential. And then going back to a bit of like genetics,
Right.
maybe people might understand difference in pricing if they understood what is the difference between a crystal bee and a Taiwan bee and a tiger, and why, for example, is where does a orange eye blue diamond come from? Why would they be like our price is 400 rand,
Right.
where a normal blue bolt or a blue steel would be 120? Why would
Right.
those be more expensive? What has it taken genetically to get certain shrimps from a certain line? If you're, yeah.
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons why the prices are set in such
Mhm.
a way is not because we want to set it
Mm-mm.
like that, right? So the easiest to understand from that perspective is that the shrimps are difficult to breed.
Yes.
If they are easy, like for example, Red King Kong or Black King Kong, for us in Asia is a very common shrimp. It is very stable and they breed out a lot.
Yeah, in South Africa, we struggle to even get
Yeah, we don't
great
get-
quality red King Kongs and black King Kongs.
I'm sure you'll get that.
Mm.
Yeah, but coming back to that is, if you have a lot of that and it's being very stable, just like New Caribbean, if it gets very stable,
Yes.
then the prices will decrease. And the prices of higher grade streams or more difficult to breed streams, that's how it actually determines the prices, because it's more about demand and supply.
Hmm.
Yeah. And quality supply is not it's not an everyday thing. You don't actually get quality supply from let's say 10 females.
Hmm.
Just to give you an example is that, let's say for example, if you breed a red stardust, 2 male with 10 females,
Yes.
and out of that you come out with 200 babies. Out of the 200 babies, if you count 90% of it, you're only left with 10%. And you count those 80% or 90% of it, and that 10% you start to grade them 1, 2, and 3, then definitely, you know, the percentage of good streams is only 10%.
So when you say cull,
Mm.
there's a stigma in South Africa with the word cull.
Yes. That's
That
correct.
people believe that it's a bad quality shrimp.
Mm.
Should we change the word cull to like not the quality you want to breed with
Right.
versus the quality you want to sell?
Correct. So I think the word cow actually comes probably from the US or from the, I don't know where they actually appear, that
Yes.
word. But in Taiwan, the direct translation, they don't usually say cow streams. They do say like it's a gene stream, meaning that they have the genetics of the parents.
Okay.
So they are not really cow. They are still nice.
Beautiful shrimp.
They
Yeah.
are beautiful streams, and they people will still pay money for it.
Yes.
It's just that it doesn't get into that selection process for 1, 2, and 3. So
Okay.
that grade. But those others, like maybe out of that, you know, coming back to that example, if let's say make it easier, 100 streams,
Hmm.
90 of it is actually gene streams, 10% is,
So good shrimp
Good
to
shrimp.
sell, good shrimp for a hobbyist to have,
yeah.
even good shrimp for a beginner breeder or an intermediate breeder to
Correct.
breed with. But then your own personal stock, you want
Right.
to keep that
10%.
10% that you keep as high as possible.
Highest as possible.
Okay.
And those 90%, from there you can actually select out as well.
Okay.
And those that are really cows, meaning that you will never ever use it in your own tanks, then probably those are the ones that
Yeah.
are really cows, right?
Shrimp that I give away.
Yeah. You give-
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that kind of drive the pricing methodology, the price positioning in terms of how it's being priced as well. Because out of 100 streams, you only keep 10 of them.
Yes.
That's very little.
It's
That's
not
very
much.
little. And it takes a long time to actually cultivate and build your own breeding stock as well. So that's the reason why the prices of those are much higher. Especially if people who wants to buy a stock stream, that will be much higher. Because if you sell a stock stream, then what are you going to work with?
You're losing your stock
Yeah,
shrimp.
exactly.
Especially us that's so far from a source.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not always easy. And then I'm coming back to the question I asked a little bit earlier. It's what's the difference between a crystal bee and a panda, a Taiwan panda, or a panda bee, or there's lots of different names people are using. What would be the difference between a crystal and a Taiwan and a tiger gene?
Okay, so from a categorization standpoint, actually I did a video on that one. It's not
Great.
being released yet. It's not
Yeah.
being released yet.
Would love to see it.
The categorization is, I make it more simpler. It's
Mhm.
simpler for people to who wants to come into the hobby to really understand how do we actually differentiate it. I make it simpler in the sense that we do it categorized in just two big, very broad categories. One is Taiwan B, and the other will be the crystalline.
Okay.
So for example, you can have like wine red, deep blue bolts, those are the Taiwan Bs.
Yes.
And then the pure red line and the pure black line,
Mm-hmm.
black ninjas, the other crystallines.
Yes.
Yeah. So from there, then we will understand that when they crossbreed, if they are crossbreed between the Taiwan B versus a crystalline, then it's not pure anymore.
Yes.
Right. So I think that one you have to really discern between them, and it will be great. I see your setup. You have like no mix between them. You have Taiwan Bs, you have crystallines. I think that's really good because it helps to guide new breeders into the hobby, saying that okay, why do you want to do that? Why can't you just mix them all together?
We
right?
lots of questions like that. Yeah.
So I think it's good to have that conversation with the local guys and try to understand and share with them the knowledge behind why mixing is. Yeah, I mean you can mix definitely, but of course you also want to keep that stock pure line as well.
And then the first time I ever met you, you showed us what genetic trait shows that it's crystalline and what genetic trait shows that it's Taiwan B.
Yes.
And it's all there right in the front. And you taught us about color there by the rostrums and etc.
Yes.
Maybe we can link a photo to the video.
Yeah.
Just so people can know, because there are breeders that do mix.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't even know they're mixing
Yeah.
because they're new, and they're going to try sell the shrimp to someone.
Yep.
How would they know that it may be crystalline mixed with Taiwan B? I know it's just a quick. What's like one trait they can look at, or two traits they can look at?
Okay, so the very first one is actually the legs.
Yes.
So if you have spider legs, then those are usually Taiwan B.
Great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But however, if let's say if it's mixed with black King Kong and red King Kong, then you don't get the spider legs. And then that's going to be difficult.
Yes. Okay, I understand that.
That's
yeah.
going to be difficult. I think the second one is actually to be very sure about your source.
Okay.
You have to trust your source. If your source do not know where it doesn't have a lineage history, then it's going to be very difficult to trace.
Yeah. So trust the breeder, basically.
Yeah,
Find a
trust
good
it.
breeder.
Exactly, exactly. So I think those are some of the things that we can actually look at. But to actually discern a stream, whether is it cross between a Taiwan B or crystalline, I think that's going to be very, very difficult. But the spider legs is one trait that you can actually take a look at.
Great. And then color of the face and the rostrum.
Yeah.
Would
so
a white rostrum or face be crystalline?
That is very it
Detailed.
really depends.
Yeah,
It
okay.
depends. But however, what you can actually see is that if you look at the rostrum,
Yeah.
and if there's a little red in there,
Red.
or red tinge in there,
Yeah.
probably there's recessive genes of red in a black stream. So for example, if it's a black stream and there's a little red rostrum,
Yeah.
then you can probably think that there is some red genes in there, because red is a dominant gene in streams.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So I think that's. So is there any further questions?
I don't think so. I think you're helping the hobby in South Africa a lot, and we always love to have you here.
Right.
And next time you come here, we can take a tour around South Africa. We committed to visiting different provinces and just meeting up with breeders, so you can help them as much as you've helped us here.
Thank you very much, and
Thanks.
thanks for having me here today.
It's a pleasure.
And for those who are watching, if you like this video, please remember to give a thumbs up. And for those who are new, please remember to subscribe to this channel. And until next time, peace out.